Hello and welcome to another Robcast, Revenge of the Nerd podcast. I am Rob Sacchetto and I am your host. Once again, coming from my movie room, which means there's going to be some movie talk involved. That's right. Yes, I am Rob Sacchetto, the inventor of the zombie portrait and number one zombie artist in the world, eminent zombie artist in the world. Why? I produce more zombie art than anyone on the planet. I have done that for over 15 years, and since 2009, I've added a new zombie drawing or painting to the internets, to the world via the internets, every single day. So that's a lot of zombie art. But I'm also a lover of pop culture in general, and as you know, I've done a lot of movie reviews, top 10, so to speak, things like that. Today, I'm going to tackle a subject that is very, very much a part of pop culture, a huge part. However, it's not something that you'd think would be part of pop culture immediately. That's not the first thing you'd think that comes to mind. And that is the Western movie. Yes, the Western movie, the Western. I'm a big fan of Western movies. Probably not as big a fan as a lot of other people out there who are like super right into Western movies. So what I've done is, instead of saying, okay, I'm going to do a top 10 Western movies, show, I don't think I'm really qualified enough to do a top 10 Western of all time type show. So what I am going to do instead is do my favorite Westerns of all times show, which is it's going to be a lot different from what you'd classify or what's emblematic of what the Western is basically. The Western has a very rich and long history, which I am not entirely privy to. There are Westerns that I'm not even really aware of probably. But I do love that genre so much, and I love where people have taken it. So let me just get started with number one. Number one, way down there in the basement. Number one is a Jim Jarmusch movie with Johnny Depp. Dead Man. This is a very unique, weird sort of again. This is what I mean when I say, okay, this is my sort of top 10, or this is my version of what a cool top 10 Western thing is like. So Johnny Depp in Dead Man. This is a very unique, very strange movie. Jarmusch is sort of like an auteur, like he's an artsy sort of director. He just did he did a zombie movie actually recently called The Dead Don't Die, and a lot of people didn't like it. I've not seen it yet, but I plan to see it. But this is one of his earlier films too. I really love this movie. It has so many unique standout scenes. A lot of actors that you know in it. I'm not gonna review these movies. I'm just gonna basically list them from in a top 10 sort of way. So I really love this movie. I think you should check it out if you could find it, if you could stream it. Rent it somewhere, whatever, however you watch movies, seek it out. Dead Man, Johnny Depp. It's a Jim Jarmusch film. So and it's actually shot in black and white, if I'm not mistaken, entirely in black and white. So it gives you that old Western feel quite a bit. So the next movie, this is a modern Western, which I'm sure a lot of people have seen, a lot of people know about. No Country for Old Men. I actually classify this as a Western. It has a very similar tone and like the beats and the surroundings, the location. Very much a Western style film. It's not a classic Western like you'd think. When you think of Western, I think when people think of Westerns, they just think like, okay, John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, and that's it. But like this, to me, would classify as a Western in my estimation, my view. I really enjoyed this movie. There's one part of it I still have trouble coming to grips with. I'm not going to get into it just in case you haven't seen it. Again, this isn't a review. This is just a list. So this is just a knockout film. It's fantastic. One of the greatest villains of all time is it like basically portrayed in this. It's a Coen Brothers movie, so expect some kind of twists and very interesting plot turns. So and acting and reflection. So this is a very, very, very good movie. If you haven't seen this, definitely pick this up. Again, however you watch movies now, I don't know. Stream it, rent it, buy it. I don't know how you do it, but this is a fantastic film. Well worth whatever you would purchase it for. Okay, so that. One of Sergio Leone's greatest, Once Upon a Time in the West. A long, beautiful... Oh, the cinematography. The cinematography in this film is so great. One of the non-Clint Eastwood movies that Sergio Leone did. Just a fantastic piece of cinema. Beautiful, beautiful film. Once Upon a Time in the West. Definitely pick this up. Watch this at any cost. Get yourself try to find this movie and give it a watch. It's really fantastic. Like I said, beautiful to watch. Exciting, fantastic. There are slow parts to it, but they're just beautiful. It more than makes up for any lag in the runtime. So I really enjoyed this movie. I love this movie. Sergio Leone, how can you go wrong with him? He's like the godfather of the Western. So again, we're going with another modern, like a modern film, but doing the Old West again. And I'm going to actually put this, Django Unchained, with The Hateful Eight, two of Tarantino's Western films. I think I probably own all of Tarantino's films, except for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I will not. Sometimes I tire of Tarantino's shtick. His goofy, over-the-top villains getting their comeuppance, his wokeness, and all that stuff in his movies. Like, it gets very tiresome and kind of like, I don't know, childish. It's very obvious when you see it. I find a lot of the dialogue is so labored, like, it takes a lot for actors to sell his dialogue. So, I don't know. That's me. I don't care. That's how I feel. But even in this and Hateful Eight, there are some like cringy parts. But man, like the actors really do such a great job in selling this concept. Again, revenge is such a huge part of the Western. So this is so well done. It's really, really, really fantastic. The performances in this especially, and the Hateful Eight, but this especially is, like, the performances are absolutely top notch, and I really love this movie. It's one of those, again, it's one of those movies you can watch multiple times. A lot of these movies that I will talk about today are definitely movies you can watch multiple times. So that's what makes these movies great. So this is a movie that very much would not be on the list of top 10 Westerns that most Western aficionados or people who are love Westerns or are really into Westerns would put on their list. Definitely not, because probably none of these movies that I've put on there would be on any. Maybe Once Upon a Time in the West would be on there, but this is a really cool movie. The Burrowers. This is a horror Western. Man, this I might even watch this tonight again. This is like such a great film. It reminds me a lot of The Descent, in the sense that like it's a horror movie, but it's not like it doesn't bludgeon you with the horror aspect. It keeps that well. It tones it back, but when it does hit, it hits with a punch. This is a fantastic movie, guys. I highly recommend this. If you like that, the sort of the mashing up of the genres, like the horror genre, Western. If you like stuff like that, this I think is probably the ultimate one in terms of mashing those two genres up, like the horror and the Western. I can't think of many Western movies off the top of my head that add the horror aspect in it as well as this. A huge and a sleeper, and it's going to be one of those movies that I know I'm going to see one of the greatest Western horror movies you've never seen on one of these guys' movie review things, which I'm so tired of seeing. Like, I'm so tired of seeing that clickbait phrase, the best horror movie you've never seen. Yeah, dude, you know what, man? I've seen everything, man. I probably own it. Okay, so don't tell me I haven't seen it. Like, unless you're 12, maybe you haven't seen it. Unless you don't give a shit about movies, then maybe you haven't seen some. But, don't try to tell people like, oh, you haven't seen this movie, but it exists, and I found that I'm the one bringing it to you. No, man. Like, those clickbait taglines are like so overdone. So, I'm not saying the reviewers are bad. I'm just saying, like, don't tell me I haven't seen a movie. Don't imply that it's like this movie that's been hidden from the public, and it's like, you have to see it. I'm sure you've never seen it because it's whatever. It's like, no, And this is one of those movies that will be one of those ones that somebody will say, the best horror Western you've never seen. I'm just telling you, it's really good, so watch it. Okay, so there we go. Once again, probably not a movie that people would put on their top 10 Westerns because of the kind of Western it is. But The Quick and the Dead is such an absolutely enjoyable film from top to bottom. Man, like, I just watched this the other day again, and I was like, the performances from everyone, like Leonardo DiCaprio's in here, Russell Crowe, what's his name? Sharon Stone. Sharon Stone plays the main character basically. Gene Hackman, like all of these people are in this are so they're so great. And like when you see them do the Western roles, like Gene Hackman's kind of done it. You've seen him before in Western roles, but seeing these people do the Western take on their sort of what they bring to a Western is really cool. And it's directed by Sam Raimi, so of Evil Dead fame, and the first two Spider-Man movies, the first two ever really big Spider-Man movies. So Sam Raimi did this, and it's got like very interesting camera shots, moves. There's like a really cool gore scene and stuff. So it's so fantastic. I really love this movie. Check it out. Find it somewhere. And if you haven't seen this, get this movie, stream it. It's fantastic. So, Quick and the Dead. Number three. So, basically, number three. We're going to talk number three. And I love this movie, too. Just watched this not too long ago. And again, you can watch it over and over again. The Magnificent Seven. Another star-studded film. Brilliant movie, man. And this is the original. This is the original, not the remake. I saw the remake with Denzel and everybody, and you know what? I really wanted to like it, but I did not like it. This version is far superior, and of course, this is actually based on. Let's see if Seven Samurai. I've got the. I got the Criterion Collection right here. Yeah, it's Seven Samurai. It's fantastic. This is based off of this. If you didn't know, a little bit of trivia there. That's right next to my. Oh, look at that. That's right next to the Seventh Seal. Yeah, that is another amazing movie. We'll get into these movies another time though. But yeah, and then Seven, of course. So anyway, Magnificent Seven, just a fantastic film again. Ensemble cast, a fantastic story. Again, like it's these gunslingers who come together to save this town, but everybody's got their own personality and stuff, obviously, so things happen. So anyway, no, it's a fantastic, really great movie. I love it. So yeah, I highly recommend this one. This is like a no-brainer one. Like, this is one that you should definitely watch, Western-wise. So, number 2, I actually do not have the physical copy of, but in my estimation, it is one of the best Westerns that I've seen in a long time. It's a brand new movie. I think it was last year. I think it came out last year to 2019, I think. And that is The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. And I know I'm going to take some shit for this one because I'm sure a lot of people don't like it. But for the it's an anthology Western film, and it's also done by the Coen brothers, if you hadn't guessed. It has a bunch of different stories in it, coming from a storybook, basically. Someone going through a storybook, and basically that's how the stories unfold. There's a Tom Waits storyline. There's a number of oh my god, like it's funny, it's incredibly sad, like it runs the gamut of all the emotions, and oh wow, I can't believe, I mean, I watched this movie and I was like, every vignette, every story was fantastic and solid. There was not one that was sort of like, that one wasn't that good. They were all so solid. That's The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. The first story is like, is Buster Scruggs, this character that's basically a combination of a Western and a Bugs Bunny cartoon. But it's like a live action thing, and there's so many like tropes from the Bugs Bunny, the Warner Brothers Bugs Bunny cartoon stuff, things in it. I know that sounds weird, but if you enjoy it on the level that it's presented, you will get such a kick out of it. You'll get such a one-of-a-kind enjoyment out of that, just that first vignette, even just that first story. The rest of the stories are absolutely solid and fantastic. I love that movie. It was incredible. So, on to honorable mentions. One of the first movies I will honorably mention is Bone Tomahawk. It is also a very new film. I believe it came out last year as well, if I'm not mistaken. If not, maybe 2018. I can't quite remember. I do not own it yet, but I will when I can move around and get out of here. So it was also a fantastic, very interesting take on the Western. And of course, anyone who has seen it remembers it for that scene, reminiscent of Terrifier. I don't know who ripped off who, but whatever. Anyway, I don't think anybody ripped off anybody. But there's a scene that you'll see that is incredibly intense and gory, and horrific, and there's more than one scene like that in Bone Tomahawk, but there is one scene that is like way above everything else. So if you're curious, just watch it for that. If not, it's a fantastic Western. It's a very unique story. So again, check that one out. It's so good. Another okay, I'm gonna just come out and say it. Another honorable mention is basically, and I was gonna do this for number 5, and you'll notice I skipped number 5. I'm not really counting these down in terms of like what's the weakest and the best, but. All of the Clint Eastwood westerns, there's probably not a bad one in the batch, and I think he's done like about 18 westerns in his career. Many of the early ones. There's the Dollars trilogy by Sergio Leone, Fistful of Dollars. For a few dollars more, and of course The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The Fistful of Dollars was basically Clint Eastwood's, I think, breakout Western role. The spaghetti Western was kind of born out of that. Spaghetti, there's a 1,000 spaghetti Western type movies, so everyone tried to copy that model. Many of them are Italian. But they're very, like, the degrees of goodness of those are questionable. But so all the Clint Eastwood films I am going to honorably mention. You can't have a Western without including him. You can't have a list without including him in it. And I'm going to say the same for John Wayne. I just have not seen a lot of John Wayne films. They are not on my list of Westerns that I am like totally into. I will maybe acclimatize myself to John Wayne Westerns as I mature. But as for now, I can't really speak about it. I own True Grit, the remake. I know, so this is why I said I'm not absolutely qualified to do a real Western sort of list. This is my Western list, and these are movies that I really enjoyed. So everything from like Joe Kidd to Hang 'em High, Pale Rider, Outlaw Josie Wales, Unforgiven. Oh my God, there's so many. There's I can't even recall them all. But anyway, Clint Eastwood films, I'm just putting all of them in there. That's a whole other list to rate those, to list those. That's a whole other thing. So getting right down to number 1, basically number 1 would be, and if you hadn't guessed, Tombstone, man. Tombstone. This is like one of the best Western films, one of the best films, never mind Western films, I have ever seen. I'm so in love with this movie. It's so great. This is like a Kurt Russell. I'm a huge fan of Kurt Russell. I love that dude. He is like, he's in some of my favorite movies of all time, The Thing, and he's actually in Bone Tomahawk too, if I hadn't mentioned that. Val Kilmer also plays such an incredible role in this movie. If you have not seen this movie, there's something seriously wrong with you. You need to watch this movie to go on to the next level. Okay, so this is like the boss movie. This is it, man. You have to watch. Again, not even talking about Westerns. This is just a phenomenal movie. You have to check this out. So quotable, so like tough and hard and sad and like cathartic and everything. Everything's rolled into this movie. I don't want to give away anything if you haven't seen it, for the love of God. So I'm just gonna say this is my #1 movie in the Western genre. Anyway, even if I were like a Western historian and I was sitting here going like, oh yes, we'll talk about so and so movie and when it was made and who directed it and blah blah blah, and it's a black and white film and from wherever, and I was a Western historian, I would probably still put this movie like near the top anyway. It's so good. So definitely check this out if you haven't. My God, that would be a travesty if you haven't. So that will pretty much close today's podcast, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. I gave you a ton of movies in there that are rather eclectic too. Some of the movies were really obvious choices. I'm sure everyone's seen the Tarantino ones just based on the fact that they're they're highly advertised and all that stuff. But Burrowers, Quick and the Dead, these movies that are either they're either really old or very obscure, or like to some people anyway. Some of those movies are just absolute gems, so please check those out. I hope you enjoy them, and if there's some that you have that you watch from this list, let me know how you enjoyed them in the comments. I'd love that. Please give this video a thumbs up, and please subscribe to the channel, guys. I'm going to actually put my Patreon website link in the description in the bottom here, so you guys can check out brand new zombie art every single day. Just like I mentioned at the top of this video, I still do that. So every single day I put new content on my Patreon page. You can check that out in the link below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did, like I said, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I will see you all again soon. I want you to stay healthy, safe, and happy. And if you can, productive, because you got time. I love all you guys so much. Take care. I'll see you all again soon with more content. Okay, bye for now.